Today I present to you a no-bake chocolate dessert that is as easy to make as it is to eat. Literally the most complicated kitchen skill you will need to make this recipe is stirring. If you can stir, you can make this. It's simple as that. Well, I hope you enjoy my no-bake chocolate crunch cake on the One Pot Chef. First things first, I've got a large mixing bowl, and into that I've got 500 grams of plain sweet cookies or biscuits. In Australia, you're looking at something like milk arrowroot biscuits. If you're in the UK, digestive biscuits. If you're in the US, we're talking graham crackers, or any plain butter cookies or sugar cookies will be fine. And what I want you to do is, just using your hands, I want you to break them up into small pieces. Like you can see there, they're not crushed into powder or anything like that. They're just in little small chunks. Now, you don't have to be too precious about this. They don't all have to be perfectly sized or anything like that. I would recommend that, like with this, I'm using digestive biscuits today because they're starting to become more common here in Australia, but I think I broke each one up into about 6 pieces roughly, so just little tiny chunks is more than enough. And we're going to set this aside while we work on our other ingredients. For the rest of our dry ingredients, we've got into another mixing bowl, just a smaller one this time. I've got 3/4 cup of plain white sugar and 1/2 cup of cocoa. This is unsweetened cocoa, so we don't need it to be anything like hot chocolate mix or anything fancy. Just plain, simple, unsweetened cocoa will be fine. And using a wooden spoon, we're just going to gently stir that together until combined. And that's it for our dry ingredients for the moment, so we're just going to set this aside and now we can work on our wet ingredients. In a saucepan over a low to medium heat, I've got 150 grams of butter, which I've just cut up into small chunks. This is unsalted butter because we're making a dessert today, but in a pinch, regular butter will be fine. And to that, I'm going to add in 200 millilitres or about a cup of milk. And just over that low heat, we're just going to give this a gentle stir. And what we want to do is heat up the milk and melt the butter just until they've combined together. We don't want to boil the milk, so make sure you keep it on a relatively low temperature, because as I say, we don't need it boiling. We just want to warm up the milk and melt the butter. That's just about done. The milk is hot and the butter is just about melted. Perfect. Pour our warm milk and butter mixture into the bowl with the cocoa and the sugar. And using my sexy pink whisk of death, we're just going to whisk that together until it's smooth. What you want to make sure is all of the sugar and the cocoa is completely dissolved into the liquid. And you'll know the sugar is dissolved because it won't have that gritty feeling at the bottom of the bowl. It will have melted nicely and smoothly into it. Now that's about right. Now all we need to do is carefully pour this over our biscuits. Pour it carefully over the top, like so. And using a spatula, all we're going to do is just carefully, gently, lovingly fold the biscuits and the chocolate mixture together. Basically what we're looking to do is make sure that each broken up bit of cookie or biscuit is carefully slicked with all that chocolate goodness. We want to make sure they're nicely covered. Do it a little bit at a time, just gently. There's no rush. We don't need to pulverize everything. We want a few chunks in there. It doesn't matter if a few bits get broken as you do this, but you don't want to beat the hell out of it. You don't need to give it a safe word. Just gently toss it a bit at a time, over and over. And you see how they're all nicely coated now? That's just about what we're looking for. Lovely. Next, I have a 23 centimetre or 9-inch springform cake pan. Now that is the one where the base and the side can be separated, so that way it's easy to remove the cake. Now all I've done is I've given the inside and the base a light spray with some spray-on cooking oil, and then lined the base and the sides with some non-stick baking paper. Even if, like this tin here, even if it is non-stick, I recommend lining it with the baking paper, simply because this stuff can set like concrete if you're not careful, and trust me, it's a bugger to get it out of the tin if it's stuck on there. With the baking paper, it just slips right off without any trouble. So once you've got your cake pan set up, all we need to do is carefully transfer our chocolate biscuit mixture into the pan. And using a spatula, we're just going to carefully spread the biscuit mixture out so it is roughly even on all sides, gently pressing down as you go. Ideally, what you want is to have this nice and even on top so it's relatively smooth. And now I'm going to pop this into the fridge to chill for about half an hour while we work on our chocolate ganache to go on top. To make our chocolate ganache, I've got a microwave-safe bowl, and in it I've got 300 grams of dark chocolate. I'm using these easy-to-melt dark chocolate chips, but you can use a block of dark chocolate, just chop it up into small pieces with a knife. And to that, I'm going to add in 1 cup of cream. Any cream suitable for whipping will do. Give that a quick stir together. Then simply place this into the microwave for 2 minutes on the high setting, and we'll have our ganache ready to go. That's steaming hot out of the microwave, so we're just going to let this stand on the counter for 1 minute, and then we can stir it together with a metal spoon. Just stir this together gently. As you can see, the chocolate has melted carefully and the cream is hot, so we just carefully stir them together, and they're going to start to combine and thicken, and this is going to turn into our beautiful chocolate ganache, which we can pour over our cake. Once that is combined and smooth, look at that, that's gorgeous. We're just going to let that cool for a couple of minutes, and then we can pour this over our cake. I'll just carefully pour the ganache over the top. Lovely. Give that a little shake, and then simply place the whole thing into the fridge, and we're going to allow this to chill for about 2 to 3 hours, or until the cake and the ganache are set. While our cake is chilling in the fridge, I thought I'd take this opportunity to remind you to check out my social media: Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Links in the video description underneath this video on YouTube. And speaking of YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell next to it. That way you won't miss out on any of my new videos. After a few hours in the fridge chilling, our cake is just about ready, so all we need to do is start removing the tin. Ever so carefully. Remove the paper from the base and the sides and transfer the cake onto a plate. All that's left now is to start slicing it up. And how amazing does that look, that beautiful sort of light and dark speckled mixture on the inside. It's soft, but it's got a slight crunch to it on the inside, and that gorgeous layer of ganache on top. I can't wait to dive in and have a taste. This is absolutely devilish. Look at that layer of chocolate ganache on top, honestly. Oh, I think I may have outdone myself with naughtiness this week. Alright, let's dive in and have a taste. Oh my god. Oh wow, that is amazing. Okay, you've got two very distinct layers here. You've got, of course, the chocolate ganache on top, which is rich and thick and dark and absolutely amazing. But then you've got the base, which is both moist and crunchy. It's smooth, but also kind of a little bit rough in texture. It's a wonderful combination. And when you've got both the cake layer and the ganache layer mixing together, it just becomes this amazing chocolate sweet paradise in your mouth, and I guarantee you're going to absolutely adore this. Well, I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Check out my other videos at OnePotChefShow.com. And until next time, see you later. Ooh, baby, baby, I'm having a bit more of this. If you've ever had a chocolate hedgehog slice, this is what this reminds me of if it was blown up to a full-size cake. It's really got that same sort of texture and sort of combination of flavors to it. It's really, really good. You can also change the flavor ever so slightly. If you wanted to, say, add a little bit of vanilla extract, or maybe a bit of mint essence, or even coffee essence or something like that, you can add that in with the cocoa, sugar, milk and butter mixture just prior to pouring it over the biscuits, and you'll be able to add that little bit of extra dimension to flavour of it if you wanted to do that. So let me know in the comments what you would do with this particular recipe. I didn't bother to do much decoration on top besides the ganache, but you could put fruit on top, you could put grated or curled chocolate on top. In the comments, let me know how you would decorate your chocolate crunch cake. I'd love to hear your ideas.